Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing One Piece manga chapter 1120, titled Atlas. So I am Akainu Fanboy. The other guy is Geboss. Please like and subscribe if you have not. Leave a comment below on your thoughts on our review and the thoughts on this chapter. We love hearing from you guys. So the Wano story continues.
Or
any thoughts?
pretty much stays the same. I mean, Denjiro is the daimyo of Kibi, and I'm wondering if this is gonna be like Yamato, because we had that cover story with Jinbei before he joined the Straw Hats. I wonder if this is Yamato's, but
please no.
I don't know.
So going to the stuff that matters, though, we go to Punk Hazard, which is kind of cool to see it have all this herbage here and everything.
Yeah.
And I like this because I kind of have my little mini crusade against Vegapunk, Stella, and everything. And I think this kind of solidifies more of the criticism you could have against his character. I like his character, but he has a lot of faults that I think people don't point out a lot. But this kind of solidifies like his negativities as a character too, with the Ohara stuff and everything, you know?
I mean, honestly, what could he have done though?
Well, I mean, he's just kind of like, I mean, he has like no morals back here. Not like what he could have done, but he has like no morals right here. I'll forget about you, what you just told me, but I'm afraid I can't help you. Do your best to stay safe, you know? And, you know, Clover's just like, you know, the voices of the past call out to you. And Vegapunk's just like, you know, I'm working for the government, man. You know, like, let me do my little scientific projects, even though they're going to lead to devastation. And me personally, I think it makes him more believable since he cares so much about science. That's why he was able to look over the moral failings so much of Caesar, Judge, and Queen.
Yeah, I mean, we do see Caesar in this chapter.
And I think it's just kind of further solidifies he just cares about science and development, and he doesn't really care about the moral aspect of what the protagonists of the story try to do. And up until now, where he does apologize that he recognizes his faults when he does his final message too, over the Den Mushi.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, you see him like grieving over Ohara and everything.
Yeah, after the fact though, right? You know, like because like here he's kind of like, where was it? What was it? Let the past remain shrouded. You won't find the answer to good and evil in a bunch of old stories, right? You know, and so I that's what I mean. He's just kind of like a cold-hearted, like, let's hit that profit margin. Let's just keep on moving, you know. So after he died, that helps change his heart, you know.
I mean, I don't know if I would say it that negatively about him. I think he's just trying to stay in his lane, because Ohara's just been digging into the past this whole time, and Vegapunk knows that it's gonna get him killed, or eventually. So
yeah, but I just kind of think like the line where he says, "You won't find the answer to good and evil." It's kind of like this morally agnostic or moral relativist view where he's just like, I'm just going to do science for the sake of science. I don't care what the government does, in a way, you know? Right? And I think like as a scientist, that's why he was okay working with all those villainous people back then, you know? But I think he changes and everything, and he starts to think more long term, and he plays the long game. I'm going to stick with the government because I can't lead the government because they'll kill me, and what good can I do, you know? But I think up until this point, he was just like, I'm just building shit for the government, you know, and I don't care what you do with it. I just want to advance my intellect, you know, and I think that's like personified so well with York, you know. It's that gluttonous side of him where he just wants to consume knowledge and keep on inventing without any limits, you know, or like a moral guiding principle, basically, you know. You know, like she literally wants to be a celestial dragon, but that was kind of like the part of him. He was like a celestial dragon for like unfeathered knowledge, basically, and he didn't really care about the costs. Like he's just mocking kind of the idea of good and evil in the past, like wisdom, you know, like the only future is going forward, is progressing, you know. And that's, I mean, that's just my interpretation, but that's just what I got, at least from this part.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I still think that he wanted to do something, but again, he was just bound by the government. But I don't know. But what do you think about Clover being a D here? Because I don't know, it just kind of came out of nowhere for me.
I think it makes sense because I think he's not a combatant, but he is probably one of the most influential non-combatants in the series when it comes to avoiding the Void Sentry.
Yeah, but I mean, didn't we see? Maybe I'm not remembering correctly, but I don't remember him smiling at his death, though.
I don't think we.
Yeah, because I don't remember that at all. It just seems kind of like a thing. Oh, I'm a D2 to kind of.
Yeah, that's fair.
Have that connection with Vegapunk with the D clan directly instead of him finding out about it in his research or whatever.
Yeah, I think he's just shot, and yeah, he does look like kind of more. He doesn't seem at peace when he dies. Yeah, that's true. That's a fair critique. Yeah.
Yeah, it just seemed to come out of nowhere for me. Although, I did look up his last name, Clayom? I don't know. But I think it has to do with like an ancient like Gaelic sword or something. So, I know that there was some sort of theory about all the last names connecting in some way.
Gotcha.
So this is another one to add to that theory, and I don't know if it fits, but yeah, this does also kind of paint Clover in a different light too, because it shows that he abandoned his brother to die. Like he was, he disavowed him, and just that. But it does kind of set Clover on this path for his pursuit of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of gives more context to his character, which I do like.
Yeah. Right, and I think. Yeah, so that was good, and you see like a nice panel with Robin kind of mourning, which I think is good to see that. And you see that panel of the bridge where she was at too, being enslaved, so
yeah.
I assume so. Yeah, so I thought that was cool. And Goated Zeph, where it talks about getting cast into the deep dark ocean. Obviously, there's a lot of connections there with Zeph's character and all the rest. So I did like that. I thought that was pretty masterfully done. And then so this part with Lilith I thought was kind of interesting, that she's going to be the one to be spared,
or so we think.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and I will say this though, Lucci is over Nushiro, aka Gandhi Forase, because she got way more the upper hand over him, while Lucci one-shotted her.
Yeah, he like one-shot Atlas.
Mm-hmm. Wow, he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I wasn't expecting Atlas to do this and sacrifice herself like this.
No, and I think it's good because her character kind of annoys me, so I actually did appreciate her doing this.
It's like, no, I'm glad you're gone.
Well, no, it's just like a different dimension, and I mean, I guess you could say she's the most sacrificial out of all the Vegapunk.
Mm-hmm. Well, her thing is wrath, though. So,
yeah.
But it did. I think we talked about this last time, though, or I remember thinking it, that you can disconnect from Punk Records, like York did. So that's why Lilith is disconnected. But I thought that was going to be a plot point for her, like ultimately escaping. But toward the end of the chapter, we see Nasuro be like, "Oh no, we still need to go after her. Not all of them are dead." And it's like,
right.
Why disconnect her at that point? Unless they don't want any more of her information being backed up.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, so I thought that was interesting, and then having the coup de, Atlas did a good job. Yeah, the coup de burst going.
Finally, they're off the top section of the island. It feels like it's been weeks since they've been trying to do that.
Yeah, and seeing Luffy interact with the robot was funny and interesting. We don't exactly know the whole story about the robot yet, but he does get confronted by two of the elders right here. So
yeah,
and the Giants are hyped, like, oh, whoa, he's friends with the robot. That's cool, you know.
My favorite part is like where I think the Giant's name is Emmett. He's saying like, I'm so glad we get to meet again. And Luffy's just like looking around, like, "Who are you talking to?" just that little panel. That was my favorite.
Yeah. And I thought it was kind of, I know it's a little minor detail, but I thought it was interesting how Vice Admiral Bluegrass and you don't see Doll, but I assume she. It's interesting how the Vice Admiral still feel the need to attack the Straw Hats in this context. You know. Especially Bluegrass seems like the least drony of them all. Most of a free thinker, you know? So I find it interesting how they still feel the need to pursue the Straw Hats, but I guess two things can be true at once. Like, maybe they feel more skeptical of the government, but that doesn't mean they're on the Straw Hat side, you know?
Yeah, I think that they're just following orders, though. Just to take out the Straw Hats, because I mean, for all they know, or do they know that do they think that they were holding Vegapunk hostage or what? Like just the lower Marines?
Well, I assume the Vice Admirals at least would have got the report. Well, because the Marines, I think we did see a footage of them listening to it, right, on the boats.
Okay.
And they didn't really propose that idea of, the hostage theory, right? And yeah, I guess it's just like, it just doesn't follow that, the Straw Hats are the good guys, like, because Marines are still against pirates, but that as we've seen in other characters, there's have been some that have always had a form of animosity towards the government, the dragons and the elders, so I think the idea that they're going to switch sides in this moment, or at least not pursue Straw Hats, I think it's like kind of an unreasonable expectation for the type of characters the Marines are,
Yeah. But just really quick on the on Emmett, it is interesting that only Luffy can hear him, because I assume that this is relating to the voice of all things.
Yeah.
So again, I'm just curious about how Emmett has consciousness as a robot, or because it makes sense with Sea Kings because they're living things, that Luffy can hear them, but yeah, I don't know about robots or inanimate things.
Right, makes you think if there's some organic aspect to it too.
Yeah.
Because the voice of all things, I guess you could say things can include inanimate objects, but you would kind of assume for somebody to have a voice, it needs to be alive in some way,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool to see some of the other Gorosei to pop up though to fight the robot, Emmett, and then it was cool to see Saturn actually come back too, because he's been kind of a bum lately,
Yeah.
And Sadi's like, oh, it's you again, right? Okay, that's more of me interjecting, but I thought it was just kind of funny, that he sees Zoro pop over with Nami and everything. And so it is kind of interesting to just see like all these Gorosei are in close proximity again, Well, we got too distracted by Emmett, right? We have Saturn's on the ship. And then
Mars got yeeted.
Mars got yeeted, and Nestero's kind of like chilling. Yeah, Atlas had to deal with that, right? So
Yeah.
And there's still the extraneous variables here is obviously the Seraphim. They could be activated at any moment. So yeah, there are. Sorry, go.
I was gonna say they're still trapped in their bubbles from Vegapunk, so I don't know if there's a specific thing to deactivate those bubbles or what.
I think York can maybe. Actually, I'm not sure how close York is to the Seraphim right now either.
York was looking for the transponder snail, right? So I think she's up in the top part. So
yeah, and maybe one Gorosei can make short work in the bubbles though.
Maybe
also, and it was interesting how we see a panel of Kuma and Bonnie, because like one of our theories was that Kuma is going to potentially teleport the Straw Hats out of here, because if they simply just sailed away, then what's stopping the Marines and all the Gorosei from following them?
I mean, I think well, one thing really quick, we see that Nostro has regenerative capabilities like Saturn does, so I think it's shared across all the elders. And then the other thing is that with okay, so I think Kuma could potentially sacrifice himself to save everyone by like blowing himself up or something, or just staying behind. Like, I mean, instead of sending away the Straw Hats, couldn't he theoretically send away the elders with his Devil Fruit ability?
He could.
So
the question is, where would they show up at? Right? Like, that's I guess the center of the earth.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it has to be
right?
places that he's visited before. So
that's true.
Send them to Mihawk's Island. The baboons will take care of them.
Yeah, totally. Well, it also would be similar, like, or if you were went on a trip, but maybe that was just specified for the Straw Hats and Perona and stuff. But yeah, and then also the last thing I guess I want to point out that I find interesting is that Kizaru is still out during this whole time too. So
he's gonna remain out the entire rest of this arc. I guarantee it.
Because he's so weak and admirals are just fodder. No, I mean, it's like, well, clearly, if you think the admiral is gonna be down from that Luffy punch this entire time, like, there's a reason why he's staying out. Like, come on, like. Anyways, but so yeah, I do think we're gonna see one panel or at least one section with him before the arc ends, though. And I think we'll obviously, like I said, it's gonna be in the form of them assisting them to leave. So yeah. But yeah, any closing thoughts? That's about it for me.
Well, we still need to figure out what Emmett's final thing is. Right? He's asking Joy Boy if it's finally time to use it. What do you think that is? Do you think it's like a giant like beam, or using the last of his energy, or self-destruction, or
yeah,
what?
I'd say self-destruction's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, which could maybe stall the Gorosei for a little bit, but that's it, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that those are my thoughts or my guesses about what it could be, but who knows? Oda could just do something completely random with it. But yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that the transmission hasn't ended with Emmett being as injured as he is. Like, he had a whole arm taken off. But yeah, I think we're finally entering the final parts of the arc. I know we've been saying that for a while, but
sad face. Makes me sad.
But yeah, also people are whiny bitches if they say that the pacing's been slow. Because a lot's been happening in these chapters.
Right.
Stuff's always moving forward. I don't know why people think that. I don't know. It's just some discourse I've seen online.
Agreed. That they are dumb. They are dumb.
Yeah, but besides that, good chapter. Apparently, there's going to be a different thing coming up next chapter. But I also heard that Oda say that apparently this isn't the craziest that Egghead's gonna get in terms of revelations or something. So I forget where I read that, but I think that was a recent thing. So I'm excited to see potentially what that could be.
Right.
But yeah, besides that, that's it.
Cool. All right. Well, everybody have a good one. We will have some Tower of God reviews and also some Jujutsu Kaisen manga reviews, and then obviously a One Piece review coming out soon. So please like and subscribe if you have not. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think of this chapter and our discussion. Have a good one. Peace.
See ya.